The first door on your left just looks sweaty, and the door next to that, it looks classy. Why is that? Well, there's a poor way to paint your door, there's a rich way to paint your door, and there are ways in between. Which is why in this video, I'm going to show you a few common mistakes to avoid, no matter how much money you got, and then I'll show you a basic, a better, and a bougie way to paint your doors. So what are some common mistakes? Well, believe it or not, a lot of people will buy a door and never paint it. They'll just go about living their life with the primer on there. And the problem is the primer isn't washable. Once you get your finger smudges on there, you're really going to have to reprime the door and then paint it. If your door already has paint on it, don't make the mistake of just throwing on a fresh coat of paint. Water-based paint does not adhere well to oil-based paint or polyurethane if it's a wood door. You need a layer of primer in between. It could be oil-based primer, water-based primer, but something needs to help water-based paint adhere. And how do you know if you have water-based or oil-based paint on a door? Well, you can take a little bit of denatured alcohol and rub it on the surface. If it's water-based paint, it'll come off. But if it's oil-based paint, it won't be affected. Now, the last mistake I'll touch on is being able to see the grain of a painted door. Yes, some people like it, but that's typically not the classy thing to do. And there's a few ways you can get around this. You can use a heavy filling primer, which is kind of the cheapest route. Aqua coat is a kind of a labor intensive process. If you're willing to sand, something I like to do is to use a wood filler to fill that grain, gives you a smooth surface to be painted. Oh, and one last mistake before I forget. If you're painting a wood door, the tannins love to bleed through the paint. So you need to use a heavy duty primer. If you're painting by hand, oil-based primer works great for this. But if you want to spray, I recommend the water-based Kills Restoration Primer. You really don't want to spray oil-based paints. It's an advanced step. And if you're still having trouble with stains bleeding through, you can use shellac-based primer as kind of a spot primer to really block that stain once and for all. Now, if you just want a basic paint job, you don't need to worry about filling the grain. Just paint what you have, but make sure you're using a door paint. You need something that dries a little bit harder, is more durable and washable because you are going to be touching these doors after all. It's something people overlook. You should never be using wall paint on a door. If you're just going for a basic finish, you just need a brush and a foam roller. It'll probably take you a few coats of paint. But if you want something better, you're going to have to buy better paint and spend more time on the preparation and application. So Sherwin-Williams makes the Emerald urethane line for doors. Very nice paint. Ben Moore has Advance. It's a waterborne alkyd. Both of these are designed to mimic the properties of oil-based paints that came before them. Very durable, washable, hardens, cures to a harder finish. It takes about a month, keep in mind, to get that cure time, which is longer than people think or hope. So try to avoid touching these doors until they've fully cured. To get that nicer finish, you will be able to spray these Sherwin-Williams and Benmore paints with just an airless sprayer. I don't recommend the air sprayer because they spit all over the place, really inconsistent. But the airless sprayers you can get a nice finish with. But you won't be able to get a bougie finish until you're able to totally control the dust, temperature, and humidity in your environment. This is about as good of a result as you can hope to achieve as a DIYer. This is me spraying oil-based paint and sanding with 120 and 220 between coats. So when you see someone with a super high gloss door, that is a skilled craftsman who's mastered the art of paint application. Those are typically a specialty oil-based paint like Fine Paints of Europe, or they're a lacquer that's been sprayed out of an HVLP gun off-site somewhere. DIYers definitely won't be able to achieve a bougie paint finish, which is why I recommend avoiding glossy paints altogether for this reason. Stick to the more forgiving sheens, typically a satin or a semi-gloss at most. And if you want to learn what's basic, better, or bougie about every room in your house, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Remodel School.